being a safety, going from being physically gifted to being cerebrally gifted as well. You can't say enough about his career. He's a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer as far as I'm concerned. He's had an illustrious career. He's a former Defensive Player of the Year. He's a Super Bowl champion, and he's somebody that has been a leader in every locker room he's been a part of. And so when you look at it from that perspective, along with the fact that at that defensive position he has transcended the test of time, you just can't say enough about the job that he did. And then even this year, he's already got five interceptions this year. He's got 65 for his career with 13 touchdowns. He's phenomenal. I wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I had the privilege of covering his Raiders team. Charles is the first go-round in Oakland, the one that got to the Super Bowl, got stomped by John Gruden's team. And trust me, his teammates on that Raiders first go-round team, they held him in awe. He is a football player who plays every game hard and keeps making plays, and he could make them at cornerback and then at safety, which is an amazing transition for a guy who, remember, he's still the only Heisman Trophy winner who is primarily a defensive football player. That is highly impressive.
Yeah,
way to go,
special.
Charles.
Stephen A., fantastic work on that interview again. Getting the access and all the work you did. We appreciate that. Shannon Sharp will be with us here tomorrow. We're looking forward to that. We also want to thank Will Smith, of course, for joining when Stephen A., and Ryan Clark for being with us. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. KD came to play. That was Kevin Durant's 17th go-ahead field goal in a final minute or fourth quarter or overtime in the last 5 seasons. That's the most by any player in that span. Now, with the loss, the Clippers fall to 16-13 on the season, which is 5th in the Western Conference. Stephen A., what is going on with the Clippers?
Well, first things first, let's take a moment to give Kevin Durant some props. The brother showed up last night, particularly in the waning moments with that big time J, combined with the block shot on Chris Paul to seal the deal. If we're going to sit up there and point out how he didn't deliver against LeBron James, I'm damn sure going to point out how he did deliver against the Clippers last night. Now let's get to the Clippers. Here's the deal. The Los Angeles Clippers are a slightly above average basketball team. That's what this comes down to. And that's a problem for Doc Rivers, because Doc Rivers is Doc Rivers, and he's brought to L.A. for them to be great. Chris Paul is not average. He's great. Blake Griffin is not average. He's great, although he was average last night with 7 of 21 shooting. DeAndre Jordan averaging 13 rebounds, nearly 3 blocks a game. Problem, still shooting 39% from the free throw line. That's a big problem. They're 0-4 against the big dogs in the Western Conference, Golden State, San Antonio, and at least based off of last year, the Houston Rockets. When you combine all of that and now noise about how Josh Smith is a problem with guys mimicking about how guys need to know their role, etc., etc. Here's what I would sit there and say, not that Doc Rivers, a champion and one of the great coaches in the game, should need my advice. But Skip, here's what I'm going to tell you that needs to be said. Everybody ain't made for L.A. You too, Molly. Everybody ain't made for L.A.
I am.
Some players don't need to be in la-la. Some players can't handle it. The biggest complaint that has been levied against the Los Angeles Clippers thus far this year is their inconsistency as it pertains to their energy or lack of focus. I'm not going to put that on Chris Paul or Blake Griffin or DeAndre Jordan, because they've been in L.A. But when you got new guys and you mix that in, and you're talking about L.A. and off nights and being in la-la with 80-degree sunshine, while winter's is going on everywhere else, it could be a distraction. Certain people ain't made for cities like L.A. as professionals. It's just that simple. And I think that Doc Rivers is finding that out. They're not going to say it because you got people like my boy, the great J.A. Adonde, and others who don't believe there's really cause for change. I beg to differ. I disagree. You got to make folks appreciate the fact that you could be in some cold weather, city with not much to do, as opposed to being in la-la, L.A. You better learn to appreciate this. And I think the only way to do that is for him to make a major trade to shake up the foundation of the Clippers, because where they are right now, all they're going to do is make the playoffs, go to the second round if they're lucky, and go home. Ain't no championship on the horizon for this crew as presently constructed. I'm here to tell Doc Rivers that right now. It ain't happening.
Okay, I don't know about all that la-la business, but I do know this because I told you before the year started. Doc acquired 3 players who in different ways are all very difficult to coach. Josh Smith, Lance Stevenson, Paul Pierce in his own way. It's just difficult. He's juggling their minutes with his son's minutes. That's a problem because Austin's a pretty good player. A lot of people in the league didn't think that, but now Doc is saying, he can play. Look, I thought he was really good against the Spurs in the playoffs. But you're juggling minutes with difficult people to coach. And you're also juggling a DeAndre Jordan. And by the way, they were on their way to having their first quality win the other night in San Antonio last Friday night. They were in control of that game. And all of a sudden, Coach Popovich said, I got to do it. I'm going to hack at DeAndre. He uglied up the game, and guess what? He changed the game because DeAndre still can't shoot a free throw. As you say, 39%, and this is the stat of the day for me. DeAndre is now 4th in the NBA in attempted free throws. He's 45th in made free throws. That is a disaster waiting to happen from night to night where you can't win that way. So to me, I'm not writing them off because there's a way to turn this, because to your point, Chris Paul, Blake, even DeAndre in his own way, when you keep him in his lane, they can still play and they're going to be a force and a factor. But right now, this is a volatile mix that ain't working.
And I'm going to tell you something right now, Skip. Listen, I'm a fan of DeAndre Jordan. Again, he had to man up and should have called Mark Cuban to let him know he wasn't coming. But that's the only issue I've ever had with him outside of his free throws. I think this brother is a big-time component. But as long as he's hitting free throws like that, they will never win because if they take him out of the game, they're a completely different team. The Los Angeles Clippers are not winning anything so long as this dude can't hit free throws.
And by the way, even with him a lot in the lineup, they are 17th in the NBA in points allowed. That is not good. No. That's not big time.
Not big time at all. It is certainly not.
By the way, Skip, Molly, the other thing is, Chris Paul, you got Jamal Crawford and Paul Pierce to a lesser degree and Blake Griffin. Why is the 6-foot Chris Paul constantly with the ball in his hands trying to take game-winning shots? He's the quintessential point guard. He's the guy that's supposed to be setting it up for somebody else. But time and time again, he's the one being asked. Against the Chicago Bulls, he took the shot and missed it. Last night, he got the shot blocked by the 6'10", Kevin Durant. He's supposed to be the orchestrator, not the guy who's shooting it. Something's wrong with that picture, too.
Another point there. The city of LA, it's not their year in the NBA, but maybe it'll be in the NFL because they might get some teams coming up. And speaking of the NFL, Ryan Clark joins us next to discuss that controversial movie, Concussion. And in case you don't know, Ryan is an executive board member of the NFLPA. Looking forward to his insight